not quite sure where to start. So, it's going to be an interesting one. Most of what holds us back in our life is fear and our reactions to that fear that we feel. It holds us in place so that we feel like we can't move in any direction, anywhere we want to, when the path is just wide open in front of us. Mostly, what we think is a roadblock is completely fabricated in our own minds. And the things that we do to pacify those roadblocks and those thoughts in our heads can seem to take us further and further off track of where we think our life is supposed to be. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again many times. Everything that we go through is there to teach us and put us for greater and greater wisdom. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't be and feel those emotions, you know. They can take a hold of us and just disrupt any kind of mental clarity that we could possibly have. It's important to observe those emotions and to feel them for the significance that they hold. But everything is in flux. The entire universe that we live in is this swirling mass of rock and chemical elements, star components that we are all made of, and it's hurling through space. Now, if you think about it in that sense, does it make sense that anything ever stays the same? That nothing ever truly changes? The only thing that actually stays the same is our perception that nothing changes. We get older, we become, you know, different versions of ourselves. I was trying to do it, but I just didn't do it. Things that used to bother us in the past, or problems that we used to have, they have some relevance, but the only relevance they have is that we've been through that before, and it's just the universe just checking up on us, trying to see, I guess we're going to have two for that one anyways, trying to see if we are paying attention to what it's been trying to teach us. Are we going to continue the patterns of the past, or are we going to be able to understand when to let go of an understanding or an idea or a certain way that we've dealt with things, and just face it for what it is and not be afraid of it anymore, because we know what the fear has brought us. We know what has happened in the roundabout way of us getting back to the original idea, the original problem, because no matter what, you can't escape it. I mean, it's gonna come back regardless in another situation, or you know, it's just you have to think about if you really want to hold on to a specific person, a specific idea, a specific path. And then you can apply all these understandings, all these ideas, all these feelings to that, knowing full well that a similar response, if not a similar situation, if not what you've already experienced before, is not going to cycle back around. I know I've experienced many of this kind of situation, especially with romantic entanglements and with friends. My end jobs, it sometimes seems that most of our experiences happen with people, and it sticks out mostly because emotions are so powerful, and they can disrupt the certain energy centers of our chakras that just take us to a place of misalignment, so that we feel like we cannot go further. We are stuck. We are in fear. But as long as you continually remind yourself that the only thing that is true is that we have ultimate control over the choices and direction in our life. Now, we might get fired or somebody might dump us, but that just means that that wasn't really our path. That wasn't the place to go. But we can look back and we can think, okay, well, what happened in this situation? What could have I done better? What did I have no absolute control? What was I avoiding? What was I not facing directly and acknowledging that then came and bit me in the butt after the fact? Because, a lot of things make themselves evident. We just choose not to see them. We choose to ignore something that we don't want to face because it's too scary, it's uncomfortable, we're not ready to learn, we're not ready to face it. And that's really why facing our fears can give us the purest and most direct line to where we want to go in our lives, what we want to accomplish. I think everybody comes here with a certain kind of life purpose, and how we get there is really up to us. It's a good card for this podcast. It's purification or fire, which makes sense, and it's the bare essentials, the naked truth, and wholeness. And I think that adds to the message context so much more, because only when we are honest and truthful with ourselves and not putting up any facades, putting up any, just covering the mirrors, pretending something isn't existing or pretending something isn't happening, then we can actually look at it and be like, okay, now how do I deal with it? How do I adjust my sails so that I'm not going to run into the shoreline and sink my damn ship? How am I going to deal with this emotional trauma? How am I going to deal with this inability to find a job? How am I going to deal with this inability to keep this job, or deal with this job, or deal with this career path that I've chosen? A lot of people stay in a career path because they're afraid to go anywhere else. They don't feel like they have they don't want to start at the bottom. But that's just the fear, because really that's fear of failing at something new. So we're just going to continue doing the old. And the thing about failure is that we put the connotation that it's bad on there. I fail daily. I fail at a lot of things, but I never really see it as a bad thing because it isn't. It's just, well, this didn't work, let's try something else. And if we can approach failure in that way, I think it becomes a whole lot less painful and a lot less fearful. Like, you don't fear it because you're like, well, I tried it this way, it didn't work. All right, let's do it another way. Let's do something else. Okay, all right, we got it. It's hard to detach that emotional component because it's so powerful. But that's fear. That's fear attaching that. That's reoccurring that whole situation so that we can finally understand that it is only fear holding us back, that we can be successful, that we can do things, that we can go somewhere, that we can be on a life path that is suited for us. We can do it. We can achieve a goal. So I'm actually going to read the oracle card first because I think it was really perfect for this podcast or YouTube video or whatever. People are too technical with terms. What is it that your heart truly desires? What do you perceive is missing in your life? In order to find the answers, you must look inside your heart. You already know this, but have been reluctant to look because the part of you fears what your heart is trying to tell you. The only way forward is to face your fear. Something in your life is not working out as you would have liked, and it's not going to get any better unless you have the courage to face it. Close your eyes and relax. Imagine a beautiful flame warming your heart and soul. Feel its purifying and healing light burning away your fears and doubts, healing your body and mind, and clearing away all obstacles, either imagined or real. Feel your heart center as an endless space full of only love and light. Feel the peace. You are safe in this eternal space of light. Now, what is your heart saying? When it brings a tear to your eye, you will know it is your truth. Your soul will guide you towards happiness, and all you need to do is follow. Trust. I listen to my heart and follow its guidance. I observe to be happy. I have the power to create my reality. I trust all will work out well. My life is clear of obstacles. So one of the cards already flipped, and we have justice, so, oh, okay, so we got this. Untrust. Oh my god. Well, okay. Fear. Face it. We have two justices in reverse for the beginning of the week. And then we have the Page of Rods. So, it seems as if something that we have tried to do has may not worked out. It happens. And it was perhaps a creative project. Maybe things have stalled. Maybe it's just not the right time. But something definitely does not feel like it is fair. The judgment has come down, and we feel like there has not been justice. There has not been a fair shot. But the Page of Rods is upright. which is good because that means we have plenty more of ideas in there available and ready for us. All we have to do is trust that we will be able to access that understanding again and not feel like this failure is just the end of it and we cannot get back from any of it. But in the middle of the week, we have the Empress upright, we have the Hermit upright, and we have the Justice card upright. So it seems like perhaps something that has failed at the beginning of the week for us wasn't meant for us. It seems like we wanted it. It seems like it was supposed to be something for us. But it was just something to turn you onto a path that was actually for you. Now, the Empress is very fertile. She is a feminine energy that just grows life. Like, she could just touch something and it just sprouts and something happens. It's just amazing what you can get from the Empress energy. She's Mother Earth. She's 3. It's very fertile and building and cultivating, and it's like the little sprouts in the springtime just popping out of the ground, ready to just show their little faces. And we have the Hermit card, which is all about the inner knowing and the inner understanding. This is my Hermit card, which is very apropos that we got it. And it's this understanding of the light within and not needing to see everyone else's understandings or opinions, but knowing inside yourself that you can do things and you can make things and you can be successful. And I'm actually very much drawn to a couple different things in this card. The Hermit deck, Hermitude deck, Hermit. I have to look at the again. So we have the snake over here, and then we have the face inside the triangle, and it's all seems very balanced. So he's got a very balanced understanding, and the man, he's feeding the snake, and the snake represents transformation. It represents shedding the skin of the old and coming out with a fresh new inner inside, but also a new perspective, because you're not so much seeing things how people are seeing them, but you're seeing them more so from your own perspective. And traditionally, it is the card of Virgo. If we connect it to astrology. And then we also have the Justice card down here. So something is going to come out of this. We are going to see the truth of it all. We are going to understand something about ourselves that we have been trying to create. And the page is, it's not a king or a queen, so they're not a leader, they're not at the top of their game, but they're very creative, very full of ideas. But it's got to be more concrete to get to a leading position, which is why then we have to go inside and understand from our perspective, because we're the only ones who have that certain ability to look in that certain way. Everything that we do must come from that, or it is inauthentic and will not give us 100%. We can always try it other people's ways, but it works the best through our own. And then at the end of the week, we have the Ace of Wands reversed, we have the Foolish Man upright, and we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So we have a lot of major arcana cards. It's so intense. Goodness gracious. So we are starting something new. There's a new beginning, and it seems like perhaps it is not the path that we thought we were going to be on. But it is. It is something different. The wheels are turning. We are starting at the beginning again. And something else has come in with this Ace of Wands. There's a hesitation, though, I believe, with it being reversed to start. But I believe that when we can take responsibility, we can see the whole truth, good and bad. It allows us to have the confidence to understand what we want and what we need and how to go after it. It takes away all that fear, because when you trust your inner knowing and your inner guidance, it will not lead you wrong. It may not look like everyone else's path, but it will never lead you in the wrong direction. It's only when we stop and we listen to the fear do we get off the path and find ourselves in a cycle that we need to repeat somehow. So the overall theme of the week, we have two cards. So we have the Six of Wands reversed and we have the Ten of Swords reversed. So these two cards together tell me that there is a second chance at something if we acknowledge our failings, where we went wrong. So the Six of Wands reversed so it's victory reversed, but I've heard it described as, someone admitting that they had been wrong or eating crow. And I think that being able to admit that allows for a second chance at something that maybe didn't have grounds before. So look in your life where you may have not pursued something that you should have because you thought that it wasn't going to work out, or you thought that it wasn't important, or you thought that it wasn't the right path when it was. And it wasn't going to knock on your door, it wasn't going to bang down your house, it wasn't going to be in your face, but it was there because it was where you were supposed to go. And we have the Temperance reversed, which means we're going to have to balance. We're going to have to see things in a clear perspective, knowing that we're going to have up and down mood swings. It's also traditionally the card of Sagittarius, besides the Fool. So we have the Fool is one half of it, and the other half is Temperance, where you have learned to balance an intellectual understanding. And then we also have the Three of Pentacles, which is another 3, and then we also have this over here, which is funny. So because if we can balance and we can understand that not this failure is not actually a failure, it's just not the way we were supposed to go, that, and we can weigh in all of the things and come to this understanding of things are going to be okay, and we are going to pick ourselves back up and go forward in this new path, then we can start to cultivate and we can start to grow new things. So, every loving thought is a seed of love. Sometimes the seed sprouts instantly, and other times it lies dormant for a while. The timing doesn't really matter. Love always grows into greater love. Your love life will transform when you learn to truly love yourself just as you are. You're perfect just the way you are. Accept this and you'll be amazed by the changes it brings in your life. Life is constantly changing, yet at its core it remains the same. Love does not change, it only grows stronger. Change is simply love unfolding its never-ending story. A loving thought triggers a loving response. Your love is felt and appreciated. An angel surrounds you. A sacred union is born. A union of twin souls with a threefold flame. The quality of your thoughts equals the quality of the life you experience. The thoughts are living energies and have enormous influence on what you attract into your life. Think love, and that is what you will attract. We are magic. We are magical beings who can attract things into our life that we want. And it's important to remember that, because we attract what we think. So if we think negative thoughts, if we think terrible things, we think everyone's out to get us, we think that people hate us, we think that our life is terrible and it sucks, that's what we're going to get. But if you think positively and you think that, yes, life is great, yes, maybe that didn't work out, but life is still wonderful, the sky is blue, the birds are chirping, things are growing, it's wonderful, then it will be wonderful. Appreciating the simple things, the simple pleasures, the simple understandings in life will give you the quality of life that is wonderful and simple and doesn't need all that shit on top of it that we think that we need because they tell us that we do. The inner knowing, the inner light will tell us. Well, now, okay. I don't know how we keep getting all major arcana cards. I mean, I'm not surprised because it's a big week, but it's just blowing my brains. So we have the Hermit reversed for the love reading. So being able to see something from someone else's perspective, being able to come out of hiding or come out of a period of distance, a period of contemplation, after spending all that time dreaming and hoping and wishing about the person that you have admired. And they're all reversed, which is... We have sacrifice, or the Hangman in reverse. Seeing things from another perspective. Seeing things from someone else's perspective. Not feeling like you have to be in suspension, not understanding, not knowing. Wisdom. Not being tapped into your inner guidance, or receiving information that is not, that is emotion-based versus intuition-based. The High Priestess in reverse can be some bad love advice. It can be just not allowing your projected emotional state to guide you instead of your actual intuition, which can mean that you might have a blocked third eye. So definitely do a chakra meditation. And the Magician reversed, because maybe you are still held in suspension, or maybe you are afraid to come out of this period of reflection. You're afraid, you don't know how to go forward, you don't know how to get what you want, because you're being fed this emotional fear that it's not going to work out. I think I'm going to leave you with the phrase that really always seems to get to me, because I am a passionate person who goes for what she wants, because I want to live my life as fully as I could, and I've experienced so many failures because of that, but I continue to do that because I've had many successes as well. Fortune favors the bold. You might have to start over. You might have to start at the bottom. Scratch. Everything's gone. But if you trust in yourself that you can go again, you can be, you can do, you can learn from those mistakes, you can do anything that's possible. Anything. So don't let fear hold you back from anything in your life. Because if it isn't scaring you, if it isn't frightening you, it's not a risk worth taking. I'll leave you with that.